All right, advanced math, time for another way to display statistical data. Pretty different today, scatter plots. I've done line plots, I've done histograms, let's talk scatter plots today. So go ahead and pause this, write this title down on your next free page. When you're done, close the math notebook up, concentrate with me until we get to the we do. So let me take you back to something we did back in ratios. It's been a while. Sometimes we took data like this, and we didn't call it data back then because we didn't know about statistics. We would take data like a chart that says, well, if we work 0 hours, we make $0. We work 1 hour, $10, 2 hours, $20. A ratio of 1 hour of work to $10. We called it back then. And one of the ways we displayed ratios was on the coordinate plane, we called it, which was kind of like a double number line. So I made a number line here, and let's say this was called the X, or we put the first values on the left along this one. So say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I included 0 over here, and right where 0 was, another number line went through. And that was 0 on this one. And then we went up like 10, 20, 30, 40. And then we put points. Yes, you can say it. That kind of point's okay. We made what we called ordered pairs. We said, 0 hours of work earned you $0. We put a point there. So that was the ordered pair 0, 0. 1 hour of work earned you $10. So that was the ordered pair 1, 10. 2 hours of work earned you $20. That was the ordered pair 2, 20. And so on. And so we called this the coordinate plane. And today's skill in statistics works just like this coordinate plane worked. So now that we think statistics, what we really could look at here and say, well, in a way I could think of this as being two different data sets. I could have a data set of hours worked, hours, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I could have a whole separate thing about money made, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and I can now think of those two data sets as saying, I could find mean, median, mode of things like that, and range. So scatter plots work like the coordinate plane. Let me show you one. Here is a scatter plot. Kind of call it because like these points get kind of all scattered about. And when I look at this scatter plot, I think of it the same way as the coordinate plane. So like, let's find an obvious. When I look at, say, this point right here, that point was put there. So what this scatter plot shows us, this is average daily temperature and the number of visitors to the beach, right? So this means there was a day that the temperature was 84 for the day, average of 84 degrees that day. And on that day, 225 people went to the beach. And there was another day here that was 92 degrees for the day, and 450 people went to the beach. And some of them are kind of in between. Like this one, you have to interpret a little bit. Like if that's 84, that's 86, 88. So this is probably 87 degrees. And on the day of 87 degrees, somewhere between 75 and 150 people went. So let's just say it's maybe, 100 or 125 people went. So that is a lot of data there. If I start trying to ask you, like, let's think about mean, median, and mode, the first thing you got to wonder is, well, are you talking about the mean, median, and mode number of visitors? Or are you talking about the mean, median, and mode temperature? And the truth is I could be talking about each. I've given you actually two different sets of data here. So I can't find those things here. But if you want to think about this, I can make a T-chart here. visitors, and I'm sorry, I went backwards. Remember, the one on the horizontal axis goes on the left, so temperature, visitors. So like when it was 82 degrees, there were, I'm going to say that's 90 visitors. When got that one, check. When it was 87 degrees, there were, I'm going to say that's 125 visitors. Check. When it was 84 degrees, there were 225 visitors. When it was 80, got that one. When it was 86 degrees, 300. And so I can make the T-chart that goes with this coordinate plane. If I go back to the connect, remember we can always display coordinate plane or the T-chart. So let me pause real quick so I don't waste your time, and let me write the rest of these out. And there they are. Now the T-chart's done. So let's think about some of these questions I've been asking you on these displays. So first one I've been asking you is how many data points were there? So this would be like, how many days did we count? And to do that, all I have to do is count how many points I put on my scatter plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this was counted 11 days. Then I've been asking you, like, what were the mean, median, mode? Those are measures of central tendency, and also a measure of spread called range. And that gets a little weird to say, well, what am I talking about? Am I talking about the temperature, or am I talking about the visitors, like how many visitors? And the truth is, there would be both, right? I can find a mean temperature, and I can find a mean number of visitors. It's two different sets of data. I can find a median temperature, and I can find a median number of visitors. I can find a mode temperature and a mode number of visitors. I find the range of temperatures, and I can find the range number of visitors. I don't want to go find every one of those right now because you're already good at that. We've been doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks, so I don't want to take time and have you watch me calculate these again. But I can take all these numbers, temperature, and I can find their mean, median, mode, and range. I can take all these separate data set. I can take all those number of visitors and find the average number of temperatures, the visitors, median number of visitors, mode number of visitors, and the range. So I can just take that scatter plot and I can interpret it as two sets of data. That's the main thing. It's two sets of data. All our other ones so far have only been one set of data. Line plot gave you one set of data. Histogram gave you one set of data. Here I'm giving you two. So I'm asking two questions at the same time. And so I'd have to find two different answers. All right, open your math notebook up, grab your pencil, and let's talk about one together. So here is the scatter plot I'm going to show you. You will probably want to pause here and draw this scatter plot so that you have it in your notes. And I'll go ahead and pause now and do that. All right, so let's look at that scatter plot. And so the first thing to do with it is to, first note I'd kind of like you to have is, remember, this is two sets of data. There's two questions being asked here, two statistical questions, two stat questions. Right? The first statistical question is, how long did you study? And the second question is, what was your score? I could have just asked one, so this is a way for me to display the answer to two different statistical questions at the same time. Okay? And so the next thing to do with that is you can make a t-chart from it. And that helps you see the data. If you need to ask the mean, median, the mode, and the range, hard to tell from looking at it. Range isn't too bad. I can say like this is the lowest hours and this is the highest hours. And I can say this is the lowest score and this is the highest score. Range is kind of easy to tell just from the chart. Mean, median, mode gets a little tricky because I'd have to count up or count over. And so I like to do this. So I like to do study and score. And just kind of check them off. So one person studied 1 hour, got a 50. One person studied 2 hours, got a 65. One person studied 2 hours, got a 70. One person studied 3 hours, got a 60. One person studied 4 hours, got a 55. And I'm going to pause here and finish this up. You probably should too. I don't want to bore you by having you just listen to me do this forever. And there you go. So there's my t-charts. I had to make 2. I ran out of space. And so there is my data looked at another way. So the question to easily be able to answer is how many people were asked. And to do that, you just count points on the chart. So that looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people were asked. That's the easy one to do from there. And we're not going to calculate mean, median, mode, and range because it would just, I don't want to use your time to do that because I know you already know how to do that. But the thing I want you to write down is from here, I could find both. I could find the mean score and I could find the mean hours studied. 2 separate means I would have to calculate. I could find the median score and the median hours studied. I could find the mode score and the mode hours studied. 2 different data sets, 2 different questions, 2 different means, 2 different medians, 2 different modes. And I could find range of scores and range of hours. There's just that many different questions I could find. So Scatterplots show the answer to 2 different statistical questions at the same time. That's the main thing to know about those. All right. So tomorrow I promise I'll keep them pretty easy they're pretty small numbers of points on your UDOs, so you won't have to do a whole ton of calculating there. But that's how a scatter plot works. Hopefully this mini lesson made sense to you, and hopefully you'll have some success tomorrow. If you're confused, please go back and watch the I do or the we do again so that you're ready when you get there. Once you have a well-written notes so that you can look back at these when you need to remind yourself later, you're all set. See you tomorrow.